I hear a lot about the perks of Black Ops the Third being bad, but to be honest, I don't think that's entirely a bad thing. As I said before, perks should just be that. Perks. You shouldn't have to feel that you have to run a perk in order to compete with others. From Black Ops 2 to Ghost to Advanced Warfare, the toughness perk, or focus in Ghost, has practically been on every single one of my classes. I only dropped toughness from my Advanced Warfare class when I first learned that Black Ops 3 wouldn't actually have it, so I dropped it in order to get used to it. And to be honest, that's probably why the flinch doesn't bother me in Black Ops the Third that much, but I digress. It was pretty simple. You needed to run toughness because if you didn't, you were losing all of your gunfights due to flinch. Lightweight was also considered a crutch perk, and that's gone too. So, what perks have you got left then? Well, I'll look at the list and pretty much tell you my thoughts and experience with each and every one of them. In the blue tier, that's tier 1, we have Afterburner, Overclock, Flak Jacket, Ghost, Sixth Sense, and Blind Eye. In the beta, I only really used about 4 of the 6 of them, and Flak Jacket pretty much works like you'd expect it to, and thank goodness, because ever since Modern Warfare 2 with the One Man Army Danger Close, which I actually played recently, and oh my gosh, thank goodness for the invention of Flak Jacket. It doesn't feel like a crutch perk, and I don't think it's necessarily been a crutch perk in any of the games, even in Black Ops 2, even with all the C4 spam. It doesn't feel like a crutch perk, but it does feel very useful when you have it on. It does protect you from explosives and score streaks, so you can't really have any complaints there. Moving on to Blind Eye, that actually prevents you from being seen by air-based AI score streaks. You also don't have the red hexagon target when a player is controlling a streak. At first I thought this was pretty decent, and to be honest it still is, especially if you're running an anti-air class. If you're not running that class, I think you might actually be better off running off Flak Jacket, just in the hopes that while you may be spotted by these streaks, you have a chance of survival thanks to the reduced damage. I think there was a couple of occasions where I had the mothership and I was trying to shoot someone, but the Flak Jacket kind of protected them from dying instantly. So there is it's basically just comes down to a question of whether do you want to be stealthy or do you actually want to survive. On the topic of stealth, next up we have Ghost, which works almost exactly like it has done in Black Ops 2, except this time it's been buffed and nerfed at the same time. I was going to say birthed. Yeah, so pretty much with Ghost, it's been buffed in the case that you no longer show up when you're controlling score streaks or planting the bomb on certain objectives and all that. So that's a good thing. But it's been nerfed in the fact that you have to actually be sprinting for it to work. You can't just be aiming down your sights or just be moving or anything like that. You have to actually be sprinting. So it's kind of a trade-off that way. And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But it does make Ghost not the crutch perk that it kind of used to be in previous games. Plus, it has a very good counter in the tier 2 category, which we'll move on to right now. In the green tier, you've got Fast Hands, Cold Blooded, Anti-Up, Hardwired, Tracker, and Scavenger. Hardwired is pretty much the counter to Sixth Sense, and that pretty much lets you reduce your digital imprints of the Tracker perk and the Sixth Sense perk. It also lets you see through counter UAVs and EMPs and anything like that, so you're not as affected by it. This was the perk that I actually kept using more often than not because I found that I just really can't run without my minimap. I need my minimap to be able to, dominate and control this game. Fast Hands, I've heard from a lot of people that this is going to be the new crutch perk. I didn't really find it so useful. Yes, it does improve your ADS time when you're sprinting, but at the same time, you really, really should not be sprinting all the time anyway. But I think Fast Hands is going to be the perk, the go-to perk that in the green tier, but at the same time, it's not going to be as overpowered or anything. Cold-Blooded is probably the most useless perk in the tier 2 because it only prevents you from being seen by ground-based AI and thermal scopes. The thermal scopes might come in handy, but the ground-based AI, not quite. simply because there aren't that many ground-based score streaks in this game, and the ones that are available are high. They require a high point for you value for you to actually earn them, so you're not even going to be seeing them that often. Anti-up, I didn't really use this that much, but from the description, this is supposed to be the new hardline, and with it, you start off every spawn with an additional 200 points, or I can't remember what the exact number is, but I didn't really think that this was going to be that useful because you may as well start from the beginning, and it's not like hardline where well, at least hardline in Black Ops 2, where everything you do gets a 10% increase or whatever the actual number was. But yeah, tracker I found to be quite useful. Again, a lot of people didn't like it, but it did keep me on track when I'm, tracking targets, obviously. But it does actually help. You probably would have seen a couple of times in this video where there have been times where potentially I could have lost the enemy that I was tracking, but because I could see their footprints, I know exactly where they are. Especially the one where I was about to capture a flag, but I noticed footsteps and I pretty much eliminate anyone that was nearby it. Scavenger works like scavenger. There's not really much to be said in this case. The good thing is it does actually replenish your. This is actually a good use of tracker right here. I didn't even know there was anyone in there, but there you go. And where is it? Oh yeah, Scavenger works like Scavenger, replenishes your lethals and grenade lethals and tacticals this time, which is a good thing because now it means that people can actually use the lethals and tacticals this time. And finally, in the red tier, we have Engineer, Blast Suppressor, Awareness, Dead Silence, Tactical Mask, and Gung Ho. I'm not going to speak much about Awareness or Dead Silence because they work pretty much like they usually do, plus I didn't really have great headsets to take full use of it. But Blast Suppressor, that would be the interesting one. You see, Blast Suppressor in Advanced Warfare was considered a crutch perk because if you didn't have it, then let's face it, you were going to be lit up every single time you used any one of the exo movements, which was kind of annoying because a lot of the maps were designed for exo movement. But in this game, you don't actually show up that much when you're using the thrust movements, I should say. The thrust movements, you only actually show up if you use more than half of your pack and never when you're sliding. So that's actually a good thing, so you won't actually be showing up as often. Plus, when you do show up, it's very quick and instantaneous, so it's not as if it's very obvious that someone is using the thrust jumps, so you'll definitely find that this is not something that you'll have to be running in order for you to just get around everywhere. Gung Ho, again, I can't really speak much about it because I didn't really use it that much. I will when the main game comes out. And then you've got what was it? No, Awareness? No, not even that. Engineer, that's it. Engineer is actually really good. It shows up all these score streaks on the map, and obviously all the lethals and tacticals like trip mines and all that sort of stuff. It's very useful, especially if you're running an anti-air class and all that, because it lets you see where the score streaks are, and it actually shows up on your minimap as well, which is another useful change from before. The final one is Tactical Mask, which is a very it was very crutchy, especially in the beta, because the concussion grenades and the flashbangs were very strong. Personally, I feel that they should be strong anyway, just because if you don't make them strong, then what's the point in even running support? What's the point of even running any of those things? Yes, there is the argument, but if it's too strong, then if you get hit by one, then there's no point in doing anything, but it's two sides of the coin here, really. Anyway, that is actually about it for this video. I think the perks aren't as crutchy as before, which is a good thing, but it does make the game, I don't know, people might be missing their stopping power and Juggernaut and, all those ninja pros from previous games, but this is only a good thing. This is only going to allow for more variety because you can actually run anything and not feel like you're at a disadvantage. Anyway, that is about it for this video. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself and keep being you.
Nomad down.
All CDP assets degraded.
The 54I will never yield.